Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to this live preview of RAD Studio 10.2 Tokyo webinar. So this is a preview webinar. Right now I'm here online and talking from you from Embarcadero office in Amsterdam. With me online is Marco Cantu, Delphi Product Manager. Marco, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, talking from my office in Italy.
Hi Marco, thank you very much for joining us. So Marco is kind to help with looking at the question pane and also helping with the Q&A that we'll have at the end of this presentation. So just to start this presentation, so we are going to demonstrate beta software. So the RAD Studio 10.2 Tokyo is not yet released, so what I'm going to use is a current latest beta 2 build of RAD Studio. So the things that we have demonstrated, first of all, some of them may not work. It's a beta software. Second thing is that things may have changed. So this is a safe harbor statement that we need to put here. And in terms of agenda, we are going to demonstrate some of the newest features that are part of RAD Studio. So part of RAD Studio, probably the biggest new thing is support for Linux, so building server-side applications with Linux. So that's something I'm going to show live. But also I'm going to discuss some of the other enterprise features that we are adding to this release. So there are improvements in very much all areas of the product. So we are going to talk about some new features in the FireDAC, so our flagship database access library, talk a little bit about the RAD server. We have a brand new support for multi-tenancy in RAD server, so that's something I'm going to demonstrate toward the end of the presentation. So first of all, what is RAD Studio? I have quite a lot of slides, but I'm going to be quite quick through the slides, so this presentation is recorded, so if you are missing some of the slides, this will be available later for you. But just to start from a big picture, so RAD Studio is a combination of Delphi and C++ Builder, and the biggest, probably the biggest thing in developing the application is possibility to build applications with from the same source code, either C++ or Object Pascal, and compile it natively to all major platforms. So we have support for Windows 10 Anniversary Edition, for macOS Sierra, for Android and iOS 10 on the mobile side, but also what is new is the new 64-bit Delphi compiler for Linux. So on top of this compilation technology, there are two excellent graphical user libraries that we provide as part of the product. So there is a visual component library that we keep evolving, and it supports the latest in Windows development, so support for Windows 10, new VCL Windows 10 components, VCL styling, and access to all the latest Windows APIs. But there's also a FireMonkey graphical user interface library for building multi-device applications. So when we create a new multi-device application, we can build native user interfaces for all major platforms, for different form sizes for different devices. So these are two very important graphical user interface technologies in the RAD Studio. So also important thing is to keep it up to date. So we are supporting the latest versions of all supported versions of operating systems. So this is Windows 10 Anniversary update that I'm using right now, and also the other supported systems. We are going to talk a little bit more about Linux later. So right now in the first version of RAD Studio 10.2 supporting Linux, we are going to support Ubuntu and also Red Hat Enterprise. So that's a big news in the Delphi community, the C++ Builder community, that we are going to have a Delphi Linux compiler, toolchain, and everything around it. So it's not only compiler, it's also debugger, all the tooling in IDE to build Linux applications. So it's not only about cross-platform compilation, not only about visual component library, but there is also plenty of libraries that you can use for building applications. So these are utilities for working with file systems, threading, XML, JSON, REST clients, and all other necessary stuff to build a successful application. So with Delphi, with RAD Studio, with C++ Builder, you can integrate very much with all kinds of services from either multi-device applications, so mobile applications or desktop application. So we have support for working with databases, SQL or NoSQL. There is support for most popular MongoDB, open source NoSQL database. There are HTTP client libraries for connecting using HTTP protocol with arbitrary services. On top of the HTTP, there is a number of technologies. So one of them is REST client. So there is a dedicated components for integrating with REST APIs, but also clients for integrating with backend as a service provider. So there are services running in the cloud like Parse or Kinvi, but also our own RAD server multi-tier solution is also fitting into this category. So we have a dedicated support for integrating with a RAD server through the TEMS provider component. Also support for integrating with cloud services from Amazon, from Microsoft Azure. So that's all choices that we have for programmers. So on top of it, also probably the newest in the most interesting probably area to look at is the very quickly evolving technology of Internet of Things. So the other technologies like mobile, like cloud, they are already established. There are not so many new technologies coming, but in the world of IoT, things are happening quickly. So we are part of this, and there are plenty of integrated support inside of the RAD Studio to working with Bluetooth low energy, integrating with arbitrary Bluetooth LE components, working with beacons. So we have a beacon fence solution as part of the RAD Studio, but also support for building complete IoT solution. So that integrates with think points, and the RAD server is a kind of a main point for integrating all data coming from the IoT world into just one place, one central database. So this is just a big picture, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide, so very quickly going and rushing to more demos. So part of RAD Studio are two main products. There is C++ Builder and Delphi. C++ Builder supports the latest in C++, so compatibility with a C++ 11 language, which is an ISO standard. We have Clang-based compilers that integrates with our RAD development model. You can build C++ applications, but with reusable components, and all the latest language features are there, so you can be productive in C++. Delphi is also the key foundation of RAD Studio. So in RAD Studio is a combination of Delphi and C++ Builder. You can have both as RAD Studio, or just Delphi standalone or C++ Builder standalone. So in Delphi there are some new things like large memory enabled Delphi standalone compiler, so you can use a Delphi integrated compiler in the IDE, but sometimes you may want to have maybe a continuous integration scenario where you want to have a command line Delphi compiler. There are some new improvements in the command line Delphi compiler in upcoming version of RAD Studio. Also, another flagship product of Embarcadero is Interbase. Just a few days ago this week, the latest Interbase 2017 version has been released. So all Embarcadero products, Delphi and C++ Builder, integrate deeply with Interbase. So there is a dedicated support for Interbase. There are also versions of Interbase either for as a standalone database, but also embeddable Interbase versions that you can embed in your mobile Delphi or C++ Builder C++ Builder applications and embed in Android or iOS. with support with encryption and some new and very interesting capabilities like changed views or derived tables or common table expressions. So these are main products. And now let's go into the product itself. So we are keep improving the IDE. So with every new release, you can see some more functionality. This is a screenshot from the RTM from the upcoming version of RAD Studio. So something that we do not have right now in a beta 2. Just a screenshot with some of the reorganization for the menu system in the IDE. Things will be cleaner, more easy to find. But to be honest, I'm using IDE inside almost subconsciously. So instead of looking for options in the menus, I probably press Ctrl-dot to focus IDE inside and just start typing whatever I want. But there are different people, different developers, and everybody has a different way of using this super rich product, which is RAD Studio. But these are improvements that are coming in the Tokyo release. But also there are improvements that were added in the recent releases. So probably one of the key interesting improvements is the support for quick edits. So that's something that really is all about developer productivity. We have a very quick access to some most commonly used properties, most commonly used controls and components, and easy way for setting up the form. So let me very quickly show you some of these new technologies. So I have here a beta 2 of Godzilla. Godzilla is a code name for our RAD Studio 10.2 in Tokyo. And if I create a file new VCL forms application, I can see if I right click on a form a lot of new functionality. So some of those is a possibility to very quickly set up the form. Just right clicking on a form, I can add in one operation a number of components. So for example, main form with splitter. So in just one operation, I have already set up the form with a toolbar, with a status bar, with a panel aligned to the client to the left, with a splitter, and another panel aligned to the right. So I can go further and maybe add more forms to this application, right click on it, and maybe build a dialog component, a dialog form. So this is all about the developer productivity, and you can very quickly set up forms, one to be very quick, but also to have a certain standards across different forms to have a unified look and feel. But also with quick edits we can add things like most commonly used controls. So we can, instead of going to the IDE inside or object inspector or tool palette, we can very quickly add things like, for example, a button, or we can add things like edit or very quickly other components, but also components that we use typically for building user interfaces. So we typically use an action list and to connect different elements, and when you have an action list you typically want to have a corresponding image list that can be connected to the action list. And very quickly, without really going away from the form designer, we can build a easy to use form. But also quick edits are about very quick access to the most commonly used properties. So if I have a button and also other properties, instead of changing, probably one of the first things that you want to change is the name of the property and the caption of the button. So instead of going to the object inspector, I can very quickly go and do a quick edit. I have a convenient form here. I can very quickly change in just one place most frequently used properties like button, some text, hello. I can change possibly alignment maybe to the top. Not very practical, but let's do it for starters. And in just one operation, I'm very productive. I can very quickly set up the form very easily. So these are some of the productivity features that are added to Delphi. and currently also available as part of the Tokyo release. So this is currently only for the VCL, with other platforms coming in the future. So that's the work that we are doing around IDE productivity, and this is also coming in the new release. So you can see that this work is ongoing. We have some really key functionality improvements, like being able to hide and show non-visual components, or a searchable object inspector, or a quick navigation through the code editor. So these are some of the things. I'm not going to go any deeper because it's it's just a 1-hour webinar, and we have quite a lot of to cover. So working on the IDE, we have also improved the installation experience. So when you install Delphi or C++ Builder, you don't install out of the box all of the compilers. You need to actively select all of them, and only those pieces that you select are installed. So that reduces the time to install the whole product. Also, this platform selection dialog is available after you installed your IDE, so you can add or remove certain platforms. So these are the really cool things that we are adding just to keep your work better and better. So a lot of improvements to get it. Package manager is better speed, so that's something that our customers really are happy, and is one of the key improvements in the functionality of the IDE. It's a possibility to quickly go into the tools menu, and from the get it package manager, we can very quickly add additional components in different categories. So there are free components, there are components that are open source, commercial components, IoT components. So just very quickly, just clicking on a certain component set, you can extend your IDE with additional functionality, and these components they are tested by Embarcadero. They can be downloaded, very quickly compiled, installed, so very quickly you can be up and running and extend your IDE with hundreds of additional new components. So these are some of the things that we do to make your life better, but also it's all about new functionality. So in upcoming Tokyo release, we can see some improvements to the Android applications written in Delphi. So there is changes in the threading model, unification of Delphi and Java threads on Android. We have some basic improvements to multi-threading support for graphics, like bitmap, tcanvas, tcontext 3D are now thread safe. So these are some of the things that will be specifically interesting for mobile developers building Android applications with Delphi with FireMonkey framework. Also some other smaller improvements, like the new System StatusBar FireMonkey property, so you can control the status bar of your form, but also some RTL Library Changes. So our Cloud API support for Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services is going to be updated with the latest APIs, improved asynchronous support in the HTTP client, new functionality in the system.hash. So system.hash unit now contains more functionality. You can easily calculate MD5, SHA1, SHA2 hashes from strings, from streams, from bytes, and also improvements for up-tethering. So there are some new properties like synchronize events to control the event synchronization with the main thread. So these are some of the functionality that are always there. So we keep adding new features, improving features, fixing bugs. So every new release is having more functionality, is more stable and more functional. So very quickly, I'm not going to spend too much time on building Windows 10 applications right now, but this is probably one of the key reasons why people are still looking into the very productive tools to quickly build applications that are Windows 10 compatible. Windows 10 is big on the market, growing very quickly. There's a lot of adoption, so Delphi and C++ Builder developers are happy that RAD Studio supports Windows 10 very nicely. We have support for WinRT APIs. There are some specifically Windows 10 specific components for Windows 10, like Windows 10 notifications, and Windows 10 sharing contracts can be programmed on Windows 10. Also, there are different styles to make your application look like Windows 10 application. So for both for the VCL and also for FireMonkey, we have styles, Windows 10 styles, to quickly make your application feel like 100% Windows 10. Additionally to this, there are also some new VCL controls, pure VCL controls with Windows 10 look and feel. So they are pure VCL components, so they would also work on earlier version of Windows, like Windows 7. So it's a big thing, because you can create applications today with the Delphi or C++ Builder in a VCL and have a Windows 10 look and feel, and still being able to run on Windows 7, which in many cases can be very useful. And also support for publishing to Windows 10 Store. So that's something we have added quite recently. So in the current version, the Delphi 10.1 update to Berlin, there was support for building APPX packages added to the mix. So that's something is very intriguing technology, and also opens a new distribution channels for developers primarily building Windows applications, both with VCL and FireMonkey. So directly from inside of the IDE, we can build and run APPX package. So APPX is a format that is accepted by the Windows 10 Store. So if you want to develop for Windows 10 Store, as part of your installation, you need to make sure you install Windows 10 SDK. So that's something that is installed as part of the RAD Studio installation. You also want to make sure that you are running the latest Windows 10 Anniversary Edition, because that's where the support for APPX has been introduced. And then you can create and install a local certificate, build and deploy the project. So I'm not going to spend time right now on showing these steps, because that's something we have been demonstrating in the past. I'm just only going to show you my blog. You can actually see the steps on the blogs, and this is a place I do recommend that you visit. Is our community website. You can find there a lot of interesting information. I just opened the blog post that details the step how to create your applications and put them on the Windows Store. So these steps also applies to the upcoming RAD Studio 10.2 Tokyo release. So you need to make sure you have the proper version of Windows and RAD Studio. You need to make sure you enable developer features in the Windows 10 if you want to deploy locally your APPX packages that you have self-created. You need to configure the IDE and add the Windows 10 SDK to the IDE, and then you, from within the RAD Studio options, you can create a certificate file that you use to digitally sign your APPX packages, and then you can take a VCL application or FireMonkey application for Windows, and then change the configuration to application store, and then build and deploy, and then that will create for you the APPX package. And then this APPX package can be either installed locally for testing, or it's also possible to upload this to the Windows Store. Here you can actually see the screenshots from the Molecule Hero application that I have created as a test application, and it's already available from Windows Store. So that's an example of a application that was built with Delphi. In fact, 2 weeks ago, yesterday I was presenting Delphi on the upcoming Delphi in Warsaw in Poland, and 2 weeks ago in Prague in Czech Republic. And in Czech Republic we had a developer from Asseco Solution, big integrator, that was also demonstrating how Asseco is deploying Delphi applications to Windows Store. So this really represents a very interesting technology and very interesting opportunity to all Delphi and C++ Builder developers, and RAD Studio is the first IDE to have integrated support for deploying to Windows Store. So it's a great moment to really start deploying to Windows Store. So that's a very important technology, but probably everybody is looking to see the upcoming Linux development with Delphi, and that's what I'm going to talk about right now. I will have a quick look into the questions. So Marco is here with me looking at the question log. So if you have any questions, make sure to put those questions in the question pane, but at the end of this presentation we will also look into the questions and try to address them. So a few words about the Linux support in the upcoming RAD Studio release. So the first news is that in the very first release we are only going to have Delphi support. So the C++ Builder support for Linux will come in the future, most likely in the update 1 to the RAD Studio 10.2 Tokyo. The second big thing is that it's only 64-bit, so that's a 64-bit compiler. And also very important information is that it's only for building server-side applications, so the applications that do not have a graphical user interface. And that's where is the market. So most the Linux on the client or desktop versions of Linux are not so popular as server side. So the Linux is dominating the server side. Most of the server side web servers services are running Linux because it's the hosting of Linux is cheaper than Windows, and it's more popular, more robust, more compact. So that's why we are focusing our support for Delphi on building server-side applications, and initially there is a support in RAD Studio 10.2 Tokyo for Ubuntu 16 and also for Red Hat Enterprise 7. So these are the two major distributions, and internally we are also testing against other distributions, and you can reasonably expect other distributions to work, but officially we are supporting Ubuntu and Red Hat. And all the server-side technologies that you want to use, so just compiler would be not enough. We have a compiler, we have a debugger, we have access to all the functionality that all non-visual applications have on other platforms, access to databases, access to file system, access to web services, and also support for building server-side applications like web broker application, data snap applications, or RAD server applications. So this is a lot of new things to build and to show. So yeah, a few more words about the Linux compiler. It is built with LLVM technology, so that's technology that is also used for Delphi mobile compilers. This compiler features automatic reference counting, so that's also something that is very popular, and people and developers really like it. Yeah, we have a similar model of deploying applications to Linux, like in case of Mac or iOS, where there is a so-called PA server or platform assistant server that is used to deploy and remote debug applications. So there is also a Linux version of PA server now in RAD Studio 10.2. So yeah, other RTL features already mentioned those. Also access to all databases, currently, except for the Informings, but all other major databases that are supported on other platforms are supported. So we have support for Interbase, our flagship database, Oracle, SQL Server, and also new support in on all platforms is for MariaDB. MariaDB is a fork of most popular open source database MySQL. So MariaDB is now, after Oracle is looking after the MySQL as an open source alternative to Oracle, the original creators of MySQL are now working on MariaDB, which is 95% compatible with MySQL, but with some changes. So this support for MariaDB is available also on Linux, but also on other platforms as well. So we can, the whole thing about building server-side applications on Linux is for them to act as a services that are accessed by clients, but these services need to integrate with some backend databases. So we have support for database access and also different libraries and different wizards to create data snap applications or RAD server applications. So a few words about configuring your Linux machine. This is all documented. In fact, again, if you want to go to see those steps, I have put together another blog post a few days ago on 6th of March with steps to configure your Ubuntu VMware installation. So this is very straightforward. It does not take a lot of time, and you can run Linux on a physical machine, or you can run Linux on a virtual machine. It's actually more and more common to run services in a virtualized environment, and you can use any virtualization technology. You can use a virtual box, as described in a very good blog post by Craig Chapman, the Embarcadero consultant, that in his on his blog has information about how to build Red Hat and Ubuntu virtual machines and how to prepare them for deploying Linux applications built with Delphi. On my blog post, I'm just focusing on Ubuntu and using not VirtualBox but VMware. And it's quite straightforward. After you install, first of all, you need to download the Ubuntu server from one of the download locations. So this is the link, ubuntu.com download.server. You can download this Ubuntu server, for example, this 16.10 or 16.0 for long time support, and that will download about 800 megabytes ISO image of your Linux installation. On VMware, there is a simplify installation, so you can just create a new virtual machine, select the ISO file that you have downloaded, and in a moment you will have a Ubuntu machine installed. So what you see here right now is my Ubuntu virtual machine that I have built for using with demo, for testing with Delphi. And one of the first things you want to do is to understand, to know what is the IP address of this machine. So that's, you will need it to be able to deploy the PA server, and then to also deploy and run applications built with Delphi. So one of the first things is, after you have installed your Ubuntu or Red Hat and you have prepared it for development, so there are some dependencies that the PA server requires. So this is the list of those dependencies, and also you need to install a MySecure shell, and then after those prerequisites are installed, then you can start deploying a PA server. So yeah, my setup is here that I'm in fact running 3 virtual machines, one with PowerPoint one with my Godzilla, which is a Windows 10 Anniversary Edition, and one Ubuntu. So I'm going to switch back to my Godzilla machine and click here and close my VCL application and demonstrate how you can prepare your development environment for working with for Linux. So first of all, you need to have some way to physically deploy files to your remote machine. So you can use different technologies. You can, for example, use FileZilla, which is an open source FTP and convenient client. But here we are using WinSCP, and WinSCP is a client that make it possible to connect using a secure FTP protocol to a remote machine. So I need to make note of what was the IP address. So I see it's 192.168.207.135, and this information needs to be entered into this hostname box 192.168.207.135. My username is PG and my password is the same, and if everything works okay, I should be able to connect. It does not exist. Let me see what I'm doing wrong. So 192.168.207.135. So what is wrong with this guy here? Maybe I have selected a wrong protocol. Let me try this again. So 192.168.207.135. Hopefully it would work. At least it used to work yesterday and before, so I hope it will work. Oh yeah, that's probably some typo that I've made. But right now I have an access to the remote file system of Linux, so you can see that I have already uploaded this PA server. So where this PA server comes from, so when you install RAD Studio, in the program files directory there is an Embarcadero. Studio 19 is the version for Tokyo, and then there is a subdirectory PA server where you have a different PA server. So there is a PA server for Mac, there is a PA server for Windows, but now the new thing is the Linux PA server 19.0.tar.gz, which is a compressed format for Linux. So you need to physically deploy this file to your Linux machine, and then when you are on Linux you can start, you need to unpack it. You can use a tar command, I think xvf, and give the name of this file, and then it will unpack it. So right now you see that in red there is the name of the file, and this file actually has been, when you extract it, you can see that it will be extracted to the PA server 19.0, and if I list again, I see these are the files that has been extracted, and in green on the console on Ubuntu there are executable files. So if I want to deploy applications to Linux, I need to make sure that my PA server is running. So I do a // and PA server, and that will start a PA server. I need to give an optional password, and if I type I, it will give me the IP address where this PA server is listening at. So this is what needs to be done on a Linux site. So you need to install Linux or get access to the Linux machine. You need to install some dependencies that the PA server requires. You need to upload the PA server compressed file to physical file to a Linux machine, unpack it, and then run it. And once it is running, then I can start connecting to it from inside of RAD Studio. So let me jump back to RAD Studio. So here is my RAD Studio, and now I can go back to my development environment, and here I can create my first Hello World application. So I'm going to create for a file new and other, and I'm going to create a new Delphi console application, because I cannot create a VCL or FireMonkey application. It has to be a console application because we do not support building applications with graphical user interfaces at this stage. So I can write something really simple, like write line and hello from Delphi 10.2 Tokyo. I'm here, or whatever. Hello from Delphi 10.2 Tokyo, I think is a nice. And also we are going to write one read line statement, so this program does not terminate right away, but wait until we press any button to stop it. So right now on the Linux, our Linux PA server is waiting for Delphi, so we need to make sure we can connect to it. So there are some steps that we need to do before we start deploying to Linux. So in the Tools Options menu, we can select the SDK Manager, and here we need to add the 64-bit Linux as a platform, and after we do it, then it will basically create a directory for an Ubuntu SDK. So the first moment that we will be deploying application or trying to build the application, having a connection to Linux, the IDE will download certain files that are needed for compilation, but that is done one time. So you can see here in the Tools Options, we could actually go to the SDK Manager and, for example, update cache just to simulate this process. But I'm not going to do it because it will take a couple of seconds, so it's a waste of time right now. But that's something you may want to do when you have a newer version of Ubuntu or you change something, just to make sure that you are compiling against the latest binaries. So these are the files that are needed for compilation, and when we create application, maybe it's a good idea to save it as something like Linux preview, and project will be our Delphi Linux app. Okay, and right now if I just run it, and that's a typical scenario that when we build applications, we first run them on Windows because it's integrated. We see that application is doing what we want to do, and then we can start deploying it to other platforms. So we can right-click here, add the platform, and we can add a 64-bit Linux, make it automatically active, and we need to create a profile. So that will be we can create a connection. I have already done it because you see that it's already been done, but if you have not done it, you need to define a connection. Here we have an IP address of a remote machine. We need to see if we can connect from inside of the IDE to this Linux machine. And then when this is okay, then if we press on run button here, what will happen is that application will be locally compiled with a 64-bit Linux compiler and deployed to the Linux machine, and then PA server will automatically start it. So if I click on run, it will be very quick because the application is small. I have already got information that it has been deployed, but this disappeared. Let's have a look on our Ubuntu machine, and right now we see hello from Delphi 10.2 on Tokyo. So here we successfully deployed and run our first console application to a remote machine. So that's we can also build other types of applications. So if I just maybe add to the project group, I can add a new project. I can build a dynamic library So I'm not going to build it just to demonstrate that it actually is supported, so I can go and select an library Linux lib, so Linux lib. So if I right click here, add a platform, add Linux, notice that the extension from DLL has changed to SO, so that this shows that I can create shared objects, which is DLLs on Linux. So that's an interesting opportunity. This is also used for when we are building other types of applications like web broker applications. So we have other types of applications, not only command line applications, not only dynamic link libraries, but also we can build, for example, a web application. So here we have a web broker. We can build a simple web broker application, so that will be a web application using a web broker architecture. So this has been extended, so now in the wizard we have an option to also create a Linux application. Click on next, and then there is a choice between Apache dynamic link module or standalone console application. So this, if I go for Apache dynamic link module, that will create a shared object, so similar thing like we have done before, but that will be for deploying to Apache 2 web server, which is the most common web server technology on Linux. But for demonstration or for testing, for development, probably it's more easy to do a standalone console application. So that would create an executable, Linux executable, that will contain a standalone development web server and our web application. So that this is relatively simple to convert this later on to an Apache dynamic link module. So you are not, if you make this choice right now, later on when you are already tested your web application, you can convert it to Apache dynamic link module and deploy to web server. So for this demo, I'm going for standalone console application. I can test port, if this port is okay, and click on OK. And I'm going to add this, create this project. So I'm going to save this project as my web broker app. So web broker app, and there are some units that were generated. I'm going to keep default names, and that will be my web broker app, and 1.1 maybe. So web broker app 1.1, so name of my application. So by default, it is compiled for Windows, so that's a good thing because I can test if this application is working for Windows. Yeah, so this is a typical web broker architecture that is not new to Delphi. So if you have been doing Delphi in the past, you know this architecture. So this is the main project file, and this is the begin-end block. So we can see here that the architecture is that first of all we need to specify and tell the web broker what is the web module class. So web module class is the unit derived from data module derived from TWeb module that provides our web application functionality. So by default it has a default handler, but we can also add other handlers or other non-visual components, page producers, queries, and other components. So they will be responsible for processing web requests that are arriving to the server, and then sending a response. So as a programmer, our program is writing into the content property of the response, so that's what will be sent back to the server. So we can change this hard-coded HTML to make it a little bit more dynamic, so we can do it, and Delphi on Linux as a title of our page, and web server app written in Delphi 10.2, works on, and we can add a little bit of a dynamic behavior, so we can print out the current time, so time to string and do now. So that will give us a little bit of a feeling that it's a dynamic application. In general situation, we could access databases or make it more complete or use some web frameworks, but that's a demo, very simple. So let's run this application on Windows to see that it's doing what we are expecting it to do. So that's what it does. Enter a command to start, so we can add the command to start, and it's now starting. You see the firewall popped up, so we allow access, and now if we go into the browser, we should see our application running on localhost 8080, and you see it's 11:51 local time here in Amsterdam. So I'm going to, if I refresh it, you see that this time is changing because this is a dynamic application. So yeah, so this is application we can deploy to Linux. Maybe one thing that we can change from the default source code, that right now when we start the application, it actually expects us to type in start in order to start application. It would be nicer if we could, when we start the application, that it starts immediately. So we can actually modify the source code here. So this is the main code. So our application, after we specify the web module class, there is a call to run server on port 8080. So if we go here, we see that this is implemented as a while true loop. And before this, our web server is created. And when we enter start, then this method is executed. So I can take this method, copy it, and put it just before the while true loop. So before the application will start listening to incoming requests, even before it's actually just after start it will work as an application, so that will simplify deployment. So we can run the application, and now you see it's already starting. So that's a good thing. We can take this application and deploy to Linux. So I can just add another platform, 64-bit Linux, and click on run, and that should deploy this application to Linux. And yeah, if everything is okay, we should be able to see that our application is now running. So you see this is our application running. So if we now go to the web browser and enter this address of our machine and 8080, we see that this is now this is a local time on the machine. It has a different but at least it's the same application, but the time is not in this time zone. It's a different time zone, but at least we can see that we are now talking to the web server application running on Linux, and this application has been written in Delphi. So also it's possible to create applications like data snap applications, and that's not very complicated. So yeah, that's also upcoming support for building RAD server applications. So the server-side applications you can build, but I'm going to stop here because of the limited time of this webinar. But we can also build other types of applications like data snap applications or RAD server applications. So going back to the presentation, so that's what I really wanted to show you today, is support for developing applications for Linux using Delphi. So that's something you can do very easily. So those remaining slides so that are about the technologies, enterprise technologies that you use on the server side for Linux development. So our server-side applications typically access databases. So we have FireDAC. FireDAC is our flagship database access library that is available on all platforms, and now including Linux. It has a high performance. It's working with all major databases. It comes with the source code. It compiles into the executable the database drivers, so it's simplified deployment. So there are really, this is the best way of building database applications with Delphi and C++ Builder. It has a lot of functionality that is maybe not new to Tokyo. You can see online we have a FireDAC skill sprints. This is a YouTube. On YouTube there is plenty of smaller videos covering all these individual selected features like local SQL or RIDML, cached updates, and other technologies. What's new in FireDAC in Tokyo is support for MariaDB. Also, the FD table has now a data. We can modify data at design time, and that's probably one demo that I really want to very quickly show you. So that's something that it's really cool, and you can do it, for example, on a VCL Forms application. We can do an TFD mem table component, and we can create its structure. So that's not new. Maybe I save it. Unit 7 and project 4 is fine. We can create a structure of a database, maybe an ID field. So the ID field, and this could be of type integer, and we can add another type, another field, maybe add field, new field name. So I'm actually, for example, this could be a database of different planets. So the planet name, and this could be a string type. So we have now a database table, in-memory database table with one integer field and one string field. So that's not new, but the new capability here is a possibility to work with data. So we can do an edit data set, and we can start adding some information, like for example Earth will be the first planet. We can add another planet, maybe Mars as another planet, and also other planets can be added, like, I don't know, Venus. So that's a possibility to work with data at design time without even saving them to a file. So this data is embedded in a form file, and I can just now start building a regular typical database application with a data source connected to the FDMEM table, and the TDB grid connected to the data source, and at design time I have already access to the data. So that's a very interesting small improvement, but I think that it will be very useful in your day-to-day development work as a database programmer. Okay, so that's some of the new FireDAC functionality. We have also other changes, like tfield class is going to have a new sgrid property, support for JPEG and PNG files in a TDB image component. So for VCL, that's going to be more interesting user interfaces. And the last thing that I'm not going to focus too much, because it's not there in a beta 2, so I'm not going to demonstrate it, because this support will come. So the support for building a RAD server application. So RAD server is a complementary technology to RAD Studio. So this is a technology for building REST APIs, for building backends, for deploying server-side functionality. So you can use Delphi or C++ Builder to publish REST APIs in a very easy way. So RAD server is a sophisticated technology. It already comes pre-built. So in a bin directory of RAD Studio, you will find development and production versions of EMS server. So you don't need to recompile them, but you can extend them through a pluggable EMS packages, and then you can add functionality as you like in a gradual fashion. So what's new for upcoming version of RAD server is multi-tenancy support. So now within one server, RAD server installation, you can have a logically isolated environment for different customers. So in the past, you need to deploy RAD server multiple times to different physical machines. But now within one installation you can have a different tenants. So just by connecting to the RAD server, it needs to be started in a multi-tenancy mode, which is controlled through the RAD server ini file, and then you need to specify the tenant ID when connecting to the RAD server, and then you will see your own data that are logically separate from other tenants. So that's improvements that many developers were expecting, so that's something that is coming. I'm sure we are going to demonstrate this on Linux when we will ship the final version of RAD Studio 10.2 Tokyo. So just to summarize this preview webinar, this is really only a few days left. I hope we don't have a definite date, and with me online is Marco Cantu, Delphi product manager, that may comment because I'm sure there will be questions about when this is released, and we have always the same answer: when it is ready. So when the RAD Studio is ready, it will be released, but it's going to be quite soon. But still, we were showing a beta 2, the latest version, the latest beta of upcoming RAD Studio 10.2 support. So some of the highlights is definitely the big new feature is support for building Linux applications. So Linux applications, 64-bit Linux in the initial version of RAD Studio, only Delphi applications and only server-side applications. So we do not have support for building graphical user interfaces, but you can build console applications, you can build libraries, you can build web broker applications, you can build data snap servers, you can build RAD server servers, and that's where Linux is mostly used, and those applications on Linux have all access to the server-side non-visual functionality like threading, like file system, like integrating with databases, services, and so on. So that's the biggest thing, but it's not only this thing. We are also have improvements in the ID productivity, also improvement, the big support that is currently very new, introduced in just current version of RAD Studio, support for building and deploying APPX packages to the Windows Store. This is also a big new feature that you can use in your development work. Okay, so that's it in terms of the presentation and this slide. So now I'm open to questions. With me online is Marco Cantu. So I hope that, Marco, you had a chance. Hi, Marco, you had a chance to look into some of the questions. Maybe you can briefly give us a few words about the most commonly happening questions.
Yeah, there are a few questions that are, I mean, answered online, but it's worth touching on. One is, as you just mentioned, people asking when it will be released and when it's ready. The reality is we're like in the final development and testing, so we're really close to release, but we cannot commit until it's done. You never know what can show up. The other thing that was asked is about the Linux non-Intel platforms, namely Linux ARM. That's something that we are considering for the future. It's not in Godzilla. Godzilla or Tokyo is only for Linux Intel 64-bit targets. We do have some requests for Linux 32-bit because those are used as embedded systems, but even more for Linux ARM, because that will potentially open up with Raspberry Pi and other type of devices that are fairly popular. So it is something we're considering. Feel free to email me your business case considerations, how you want to use it, because we are collecting information from customers to have the right timing and priority for this feature, but it's not in the current product, and we don't have an expected plan for the future. Still evaluating it. Okay, excellent. Yeah, I think that some questions that didn't
really show up and are showing that it's all server-side, so we do not have right now the support for graphical user interfaces, but I think this is something under the consideration to possibly in the future also provide a multi-device capabilities for the Linux. Is this correct assumption?
Yeah, it is correct. I mean, we don't have a goal of supporting Linux as a client platform, like an Office client platform, because the user scenario is extremely limited. I mean, businesses rarely adopt like GNOME desktop for their own. For their own users. There are some notable exceptions in the last few years of large organizations adopting Linux, but as far as I know, they're all rolling back and going back to Windows. So that's not something we have in mind and we are considering. There are, though, other case scenarios that are interesting. For example, is for kiosk applications. So if you have like a standalone computer that's running one single application, like full screen, why you have to spend $100 for a Windows license where it's just showing like a full screen single application that could as well run on a Linux box. So for example, Linux boxes with kiosk applications and the user interface, possibly FireMonkey, it's more likely in the VCL. That's something that certainly we've had a few requests for. And again, if you have a specific business case or specific scenarios, feel free to email me or anyone at Embarcadero, and we can certainly try to set the right priorities.
Excellent, Marco. I don't see that there are more questions coming, so I think that you know how to find us, so marco.cantu@embarcadero.com and paweł.glowacki@embarcadero.com. So maybe any final comments, Marco?
Well, there is another question that unfortunately the answer is sorry, no. The question is about SOAP being extended with additional security support out of the box. We are nailing down bugs on SOAP. We fixed a few in Berlin Update 2. We're fixing a few in Tokyo, but in terms of expanding it with some of the WS Star support that is long awaited, that's not in the current release, unfortunately. So yeah, that's I wanted to mention because sorry, but we're not doing it. It's again, make sure you have a good look to the product when it's released. If you're on a day subscription, you're going to receive it as part of your subscription. If not, consider buying it. The Linux support is significant. We have a significant numbers also of bug fixes, smaller features, nice features. And also, if you haven't used, if you're not on the latest and you're not on Berlin Update 2, all of the design time enhancement with quick edits and new VCL controls that Pavel mentioned, this is actually a lot of new stuff that was made available for the VCL in recent months. So it's certainly worth considering a move to this new version.
Okay, excellent, Marco. Thank you very much for your time, and this presentation has been recorded, but we're also going to have another Getting Ready for RAD Studio 10.2 webinar on coming Tuesday on March 21st. So if you miss some information or you miss your chance to ask questions, we will be again live presenting similar information, maybe some more interesting demos in just a couple of days. So thank you very much for your time, and I wish you a great day and great experiences with Delphi and C++ Builder programming. Thank you very much.
Bye.